This is Mike Foley, and you're watching Wrestle Fandom Radio.
How's it going today, guys?
Welcome.
It's Wrestle Fandom Radio.
Welcome. And as you can see today on the show, we have the one.
champ is here. That's what's on the show today, guys. The champ is here.
Dude.
And we got a good friend of mine here. Rick Recon's here. And,
That's what I was
of
trying to get
course,
to.
we have Garrett.
Yeah.
Garrett's here, too, I guess.
The host.
What? The host with the most is right here.
All right. Let's, you know what? All right. First off, Rick, thank you for coming on
Thanks
today.
for coming on,
I'm
buddy.
sorry about this guy. Yeah, he's
You're welcome.
What do you have to
Thanks
apologize?
for
Finally, we have somebody on the show now
Right.
that's championship caliber like myself, instead of having to deal with you every week.
You know what?
What?
Why don't we actually fight for that belt instead of you just turning on me?
You want to fight me?
Yeah.
Okay, Garrett. First off, shut your mouth. There's a reason I don't even have the D Squad here with me today, because I don't need them with you.
Why not?
Why? Let me rewind the clock about 7 days, and you on your ass by a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old. You got beat up by elementary school children last week.
Okay, first
you think
off,
your competition?
They attacked me.
Shut
You can't
your
fight kids.
mouth.
It's illegal. They have laws about
Shut
it.
your mouth. You're not a contender.
Guys,
You're
come on.
dude.
Just
You're nothing.
Okay.
If anybody honestly deserves a shot at the belt, it would be Z. If you want to take Z, get Z down here today after the show. I'll go one-on-one with Z all
All
day.
right, I'll text him right now,
Yeah.
okay? But can we please get to our guest?
You can be the ref. If I get DQ'd, I'll give up the belt. But I much rather sit here and have a nice conversation with Rick and then listen to you whine like you always do over and over and over again. Can we get the show going, please? Because I'm tired of listening to your voice.
I'm waiting on you.
Wait, well,
All right.
fine. How we doing today, Rick?
I'm doing great,
Rick,
personally.
I'm sorry.
Welcome
I'm doing
to the
great.
show, buddy.
This is
I'm
very.
glad
This
you're
is
here.
rather entertaining to watch this from afar and see all this going on.
Yeah.
here. So,
Sorry about that.
I appreciate
But
that.
but Rick,
No,
thank you.
it's
Thank you for being here. We have a lot
you, sir.
to discuss with you, everything that you got going on in the wrestling world. But just before we get to that, there's one thing I'd like to talk about, just wrestling world and the world itself, period, is using the app that Joe and I actually do both use, that Wrestle feed. It came out that Daphne had died, and the way, it's just like, oh, Daphne passed away, and she was, on Instagram Live, talking about suicide.
And as the more
they
information
need
came out,
to say what happened. Daphne
Yes.
committed suicide.
she took her own life.
Yes,
And
and it needs to be said, and people need to talk about it, because people not talking about it is why it keeps happening.
And mental illness is a very, very real thing. And depression and everything that comes along with that, a lot of times it does seem like there's nobody there to help you, and there's nobody there you can reach out to. But there's so many places that you can call it. We all have people around us that, even if you don't think that they're going to help, will. You have the suicide prevention hotline. They even have apps now where you can literally just like FaceTime a therapist. Like, and the stigmata that was behind mental illness before, I feel like is really, really going away. And like, especially with professional athletes, especially with people that are in the limelight, I feel like there's more of a pressure on them to be like, oh, well, things just need to brush off of me. Things just need to be okay. And it's not okay. It's never okay to feel like that's your only option. And at the end of the day, if you are feeling like you're having those thoughts, reach out to somebody. Shit, like we're on Facebook. Reach out to us. Like I'll sit there and I'll chop it up, and I'll try to help you as much as I can, or direct you where I can. And I know Garrett, as much as a buster as he is, he will do the same, because he is a good person. And don't ever think that's the final answer, because that's a final answer. And guess what? Like, there's no coming back from anything like that. And it breaks my heart every time I see somebody who has so much life ahead of them do something as drastic as that.
Yeah, she was way too young, way too
young.
had too much going on. So it's sad, but
yeah, it affects a lot of people around you, man. Like, that's the thing, is like, there's a lot of people I know personally that knew her. Like,
Right.
my my girl knows her from years back.
Right.
There's a lot of people I know that knew her and talked to her like every day, and they're like really broken about it. And I didn't even know her, and I don't know. It hit me a lot. It hit me a lot worse than like a lot of the other ones, because like she was so universally loved by everybody.
Right.
Right.
I never heard anything bad spoken about her, so it's like it's worse when one of the good ones go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you're right when they say the whole like she passed away. Like that's a bullshit cop out answer. Like that's not what happened.
It annoys me.
She ended it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like she didn't just pass away like in her sleep. Like she committed suicide, and you need to say it.
Yeah.
People try to get
just
away
be straight
from
up with
those
it.
things,
Yeah. It won't get fixed if you don't address it.
Right. You can't just.
That's why wrestling is so toxic.
Yeah.
The business, not wrestling itself, but the wrestling business is so toxic because it's just hush, hush, shut up and pull the curtain.
Right.
Nobody wants to see it. We don't care. We'll just replace you with somebody else.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why it's so toxic.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately, it's one of the downsides.
Absolutely.
Of the business, it seems like so. So yeah, but all right. So on to our guest.
Well, before we talk to our, I believe we have some shout outs to our sponsors. We have to.
Oh, you know what? Thank you for reminding me. I got distracted by all your BS there.
Oh, my BS.
You gotta keep the lights on, guys.
Yeah,
so
you know, keep the lights on. So Rockin Horse Tattoo. If you need ink, go there. If you need piercings, go there. All right, they're down in New Hartford, right next to Big Apple. Go hit them up. Dippin Donuts, 3 locations, 2 in Rome and 1 in New Hartford. Hit them up. If you've never had donuts and breakfast sandwiches until you've had those.
You can go to Dunkin' and you can get the little chintzy thing that's about the size of a hockey puck, or if you want a donut the size of my head or a sandwich that's as thick as my head, go to Dippin' and go mange.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The place is insane. And then if you need any gear, anything, if you want to buy Wrestle Fandom stuff, go to Seasonal Sports. All right, we got our own store right on there. Our
boy
website.
Friday was the guest on Movie Madness.
He was our first guest.
On Movie Madness. Hit him up.
All right, so Rick, let's get into everything, buddy. All right. So obviously we work with ICW, and that's where we know you from. Before we get into everything with them, let's also talk about the other federations that you wrestle in and a belt you just obtained. So go ahead, take the reins. Tell us what you did.
Well, as far as the championship was concerned, this was actually I did a little work for IWF before. I did a few matches for them. It was kind of those closed set tapings because it was still pandemic and stuff. So I did make somewhat of an impact over there. I got some victories, obviously got them to notice and everything, but this was my first time with them like in front of their crowd. And IWF is like, it's odd for being a New Jersey. It's one of those places where like their fans are very loyal. It's very similar in a sense to Immortal. Their fans are very loyal to that particular federation and the guys that are in it. And a single person on that roster has come from IWF, whether it was from their school or like their original guys, except for me. I was actually the only guy on the show that was not an original IWF guy.
Gotcha.
And which is kind of big because, again, they tend to stick with their guys. So I came in and they were like, yeah, we need you both. We need you for 2 events. And you're contracted in a title match. You're against Justin Adams, which is a guy I've known for a while.
Right.
He's a fantastic athlete. The guy should be on already, to be honest. I'm sure it's coming for him, but but he's a guy I've been wanting to fight for a while.
Right.
And they said, you got him. I said, all right. He's been the American champion for, I don't know, about a year and a half, give or take. I don't care whether it's the days are a little padded from the pandemic. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
so I go in, and it's like, okay, so you're against him, and then you got this other guy, Tony Graves, the next day. And if you gain the title, it's a title match, the next day on Sunday.
Sweet.
I went out, we did 20 minutes, almost to the mark.
Right.
It was probably one of the best fights I've ever had. And I wrestle everybody. Right. So it's probably one of the best matches I've ever had. That should be coming out any day now. And I beat him. I hit the kill shot 3/4 of the way across the ring, man. I literally went from one corner to the other, caught him, bang, and that was it. And the crowd, mind you, again, this is a very loyal crowd. The crowd, you did your job when the crowd counts along with the 1, 2, 3 at the end.
Right.
And they did. They were with it the entire time.
That's huge.
And it was kind of a surprise. Again, I'm going into a Fed that's a new Fed for me, against a guy I never worked before, against a very loyal crowd to their own guys. And the crowd was like, they were with it. They were behind me. And then the next day I defended it and retained, and it was actually the main event. And the crowd went home happy. So that's
awesome.
what counts.
It's the end of the day. That's what you want.
That one I changed it a little bit. I yoked the guy up in a sharpshooter, and I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he cried on the way home. But
I can imagine.
Sometimes you got to stretch a guy, and you got to let him know who's the man. So that's what I did. Yeah. So that was a really good weekend. Also got a lot of tips, pointers, and stuff from Dr. Tom Pritchard both days.
Oh,
nice.
So that was also really good. It's always good when you have guys like that, or the guy, the owner of IWF, Kevin Knight, who I've worked before, and he's been all over the place, and he was like, really glad you're with us, man. Thank you.
That's awesome.
So obviously that's you go in, you show up, show out, do your job, and good things come to you. That's what happens.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and for anyone who doesn't know, the kill shot, a bounce off the ropes or spring off the ropes and catching a cutter.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, you need to be at a show so you can see it. Absolutely. And especially to know that you went that far across the ring to
crazy.
hit it.
Like, that sounds
insane.
Awesome. That sounds
I can't wait. Yeah.
Amazing.
I know. Yeah. That was from the second rope. Sometimes I've hit it from the top rope, and that's literally across the ring.
Oh, I can't even.
So that's something I don't always do. That's for like big
Special
things,
occasions.
And that's kind of one of those cases of like, if I hit that, you're probably going to be knocked out. There probably isn't going to be a pin. It's going to be counted as a knockout. So that's a big one.
I can only imagine. Yeah.
You'll see it one day, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So now, let's get into some ICW stuff. All right.
Yeah.
Let's get into the Immortal stuff. Now, you became the Northeast champ.
Yep.
You took that from Ben Hameen.
Yes.
I'm not 100. Was it one of the Rome shows? I could be wrong.
No, it was Schenectady.
Schenectady.
It was. I can give you the date. It's actually like I've won a few titles already, but that was the one that's I was closest to here, and I remember the date was 11/23/2019.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
And I had that. I had it for a year and a half. It was going on 2 years.
Right.
I had that title. So.
Right. And so unfortunately, Blaze Haram is now the champ, and it's hard pressed to say that he beat you for it, because obviously, if anyone was at the last Immortal show, they know that there was interference.
Right.
From Ben Hameen.
That's
as well.
putting it mildly.
Yeah.
That's putting it mildly.
Yeah. So there's a few things obviously going on there. I know one, you were always going at it with. It seemed like you were always going at it with Ben, but since Blaze Haram showed up in ICW, I feel like you two have just been like going at it,
locking horns
all the time. Like it almost feels like you two are destined to fight forever.
Yeah.
whether there's titles involved, whether there's not, whether not,
It's almost like that Batman and Joker.
Yeah, it doesn't
like,
matter.
It's gonna happen regardless.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. We're two sides of the same coin. It's
Right.
just, and unfortunately, it's like, and I realized that I would probably be very much like him if I had just a couple really bad days.
Right.
right.
And
Yeah.
that's
Very good
how
point.
that's
Yeah,
we
yeah,
are very
very good
similar,
quote.
but we're different. And I mean, this is that match was the 9th match that we've had over about 6 or 7 different promotions
Right.
throughout the Northeast. So it's not. This isn't just too Immortal. This is everywhere. This is throughout the
Yeah.
Northeast, and
Right.
Yeah.
I've always beaten him. The only time he's ever won is when he had Ben Hameen ringside. The only time. He beat me in a cage match, had no ropes. It was an Iraqi prison match, had barbed wire on the top. And he had to knock me out with a chair to the back of the head and then had to handcuff me to the side of the cage and have Ben Hameen help him out of the cage. That's
So
the
it's
only
safe
way
to
he can
say
beat
that
me.
He can't cleanly beat you.
He can't. He never has. He never will. I've beaten him I don't know how many times clean. And usually it's with the kill shot. So he clearly can't handle that
That's his
particular
kryptonite,
move.
yeah.
He can't handle it.
Right.
It's it. I hit him at it's over. I hit that and everybody's over. No one kicks
Right.
out of it.
Right.
No, I mean it was very clear. I mean you saw it. I hit it
Yeah.
and it was over. I laid on him for probably a good 10 count.
Right.
And it was only because Ben Hameen yanks out the referee
yeah.
yanks out sideburns, which to be honest is hilarious because if I did that, if I put hands on an official, I would have been fined, but he wasn't.
Absolutely.
Right.
And the thing is, he should be fined. I'm sure he can afford it with all his oil money,
Right.
but he needs to be fined for that. And
It's
he
classic Ben.
should be banned. He should be banned from ringside. I should have
At the very least.
a rematch for that title. But
Right.
it's clear that they want to. I guess I'm not trying to trash on management at ICW. I get what they're doing. They're giving me Ben Hameen because he's the one who really cost me the match.
Absolutely.
They're giving me him so I can beat the living shit out of him. And that's fine. And I'll certainly take that and I'll put him in a hospital. I'll end his career because he's kind of winding down anyway. And this will probably be the time when he goes, yeah, I don't want to do it anymore. I can't physically do it anymore. Then I'll get Blaze Haram. But
Right.
I'm sure Blaze is going to have some bullshit too because they're birds of a feather. They flock together. That's how it
Yeah.
works. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're definitely running conspiracy stuff. That's not.
And,
they're-
you never know, especially Ben having his pockets as deep as they are. You never know who he's paying off in the back, who's being taken care of to
True.
make things go your way. And it really is sad to see you getting gypped like that, especially like honestly, if you're gonna finish Ben, which you absolutely should, and because speaking as a champion myself, you want to be able to go out against your rival on your terms, holding the thing that means the most to you, and to have it robbed like that from you is absolutely nonsense. And
yeah, and brass knuckles on top of it. Like
oh, I know, right? Like,
I
who still uses
felt
those?
that. I had a mark on the side of my head. It was brutal. Like my hair was hiding it, but it was out to here. So
and just the
I got
lengths that
knocked
they have
out.
to go just to do that to you is just sad. Like this
That's
is
what I mean. Like I said it to Blaze. Like I put out a promo because that to me that's the best way to do it. Like I'm not one of those guys that sits there and types out paragraph upon paragraph of a promo. I'm like, you could have just like there's too many herbs in this business that do that. Just cut a promo. I know
Absolutely.
most guys can't, but cut one.
Absolutely.
I already said, listen, if you beat me for real, 1, 2, 3, I'm always going to hate you, but I'll respect the decision and I'll get my own back. But you didn't do that because you can't do that. You know, here's the thing is like, I'm sorry, as a competitor, you know, as a wrestler, like there needs to be some code of honor to, you know what I mean? To some degree. I'm not going to sit there. I understand that rules sometimes get bent. Hell, sometimes I bend a rule or two if a guy really deserves to have it bent on him. But that was ridiculous. That was highway robbery. There's a code of honor between athletes, and you broke it. So it's clear, like, you want to do that. You want to give me absolute dishonor. Well, I'm going to give you absolute vengeance. And you know what? Yeah. Maybe I'll break some rules. Maybe I'll say, you know what? Screw your honor, because you don't have any. So I'm going to give you what you give to me.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, Rick, I'm going to offer you the services of the D Squad and everybody I roll with if you ever decide to go that route. You're an honorary member in my book, so we got you.
I appreciate it. If you guys are just like ringside guys, absolutely. So there's no bullshit of people coming in.
Make sure nobody comes in, nobody messes with you. Absolutely. Because my security squad rolls pretty deep, and they're pretty big guys. So if you ever need it, you just reach out.
I got to give it to them. They are serious-looking guys.
Yeah.
So for anyone who may not know, then he is taking on Ben Hameen at the September show in a week and a half. I think we're at the 18th, right?
So week and a half, the 18th.
At the Canada show. So if you need tickets, hit up their site, hit the Immortal page. That is... It's going to be awesome. Everything that's set for there. We've talked about the card. We've gone over it. It's going to be a great show, and you're going to get to see Rick Recon
do his thing,
and get some vengeance. Part of his vengeance.
To add to that,
half of it.
Yeah, exactly. Half the vengeance, 50% of the vengeance, and I'll get the other vengeance later on. To add to the your mention about tickets, this Saturday there's actually a street festival in Canada, and Immortal is going to be there selling tickets,
nice.
And yours truly is going to be there.
Oh,
so
if you
y'all want tickets in person with the man,
that's awesome.
I'll be there.
So do you have it? Actually, I'm going to be honest. I didn't even know about that. So can you give us any more info about that? Like where in Canada or anything like that?
Well, I can probably send that. I can probably send that over to you. I'm going to get some more information from Mike King. He actually, I was
post it on the page.
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Sounds great. We'll be sharing that on the page sometime later today, so everyone can be on there.
Sweet. All right. Yeah, I'll get that from him.
All right. Well, we appreciate you talking about everything that was that. So let's talk about one more thing that I was that we both were. I mean, honestly, but I was super excited to see. I was watching AEW Dark one day, and all of a sudden, there's Rick Recon, okay, wrestling in a match. Two other guys. Now, here's the thing. I'm terrible with names. Bad. Yeah. So I can't remember the names, but I know you guys wrestle.
He knows me. He's known me for 20 years, and half the time he doesn't remember my name.
Yeah. Well, it's because he wants me to call him Champ, and it's Joe. I'm not calling him Champ. It's weird. Okay. Anyways.
You'll learn.
But you guys took on QT Marshall's team.
Yeah. The factory.
So run us through like just all of that. I mean,
like how did it happen? Yes.
Yeah.
How was it working there and just all of it?
Well, how it happened was just listen. I mean, to be honest, I just sent him my stuff. I'm just gonna kind of like everybody has this running thing. Oh, I'm gonna send my stuff. So yeah, that's basically what I did. I sent my stuff. Didn't expect to hear anything back because I mean, come on, how many thousands of guys are sending their stuff?
Oh, absolutely.
All the time, and they. And I didn't immediately hear anything back. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I probably just got put in the pile of everybody, which is okay. Like, it's fine. Like, I'm not going to be mad about that. But, I mean, guys got to stop getting so butthurt about that. Like, you apply for a regular shoot job. You don't always hear back whether you got it or not, So it's just keep it moving if you have to. Like, don't get mad about it. They might not need you right now. They might need you later.
Right.
So, but no, I sent my stuff, and a week later, like I woke up to it. So I thought, I'm like, this has got to be a rib. And they were like, yeah, here's the dates, here's the times, call times, this and that. Here's where their location is, da-da-da. So just get your stuff in order and your flights and all that. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm looking it up, like, to verify that this is legit, and it was legit. And I'm like, okay, all right. So obviously it was kind of like one of those, this is just how wrestling is. It's hurry up and wait. So you're in a mad scramble to find your flight, your hotel, your rental car, all this stuff. You get all that, and then you wait to leave.
Where was the match
And
at?
you're, of course, that's when everything starts dawning on you, like, oh shit, I'm going to such and such.
Right.
Oh shit. You're on that edge, like, yo, should I even go? I'm like, you're like, yeah, I don't know, I'll probably botch everything. But you're like, nah, I'm going to go do it, because you're a professional. You got to do it. You agreed to it, so you got to go do it. So you go do it, you get on the flight, and that's when it, like, really starts to set in, like, oh shit. Then you pull up to Daly's place, and that's when it fucking just hits you like, holy shit, there's Daly's place, there's the ring, there's everybody. Crap.
Yeah.
So you go in, and they at the time, like, nobody was, they really weren't like doing any like vaccinations, because it was like just as they were starting to get those out to everybody. So, you had to have tested beforehand. You had to bring your paperwork. They test you, like, rapid test you before you even walk in the building. So, you're sitting out there and you're waiting for that, and you're like, please don't show up with anything. Please don't show up with anything, because this would be my luck to, like, come there and, oh, yeah, you got popped, so sorry. You got to go. And then everything was fine, and you go in, and, you go take yours and all that with Speedy. Shout out to him. He's probably one of the best photographers around. You can follow him, Speedy Photo, on Instagram. Dude, he's got a fucking eye for shit. He really does. Like, I try to post every single picture he ever took of me, because he takes like 30 to 40 of them and sends them to you, like, afterwards.
That's
awesome. It's great shit. He's, like I said, he's just got a really good eye for everything. Figured I'd put him over, because,
Absolutely.
you got to put over the guys that make you look good. Like, everybody forgets about that.
Right.
So, so you go do that, you get your stuff on, and then, you realize, okay, well, there's no matches for Dynamite because they're doing Blood and Guts that day. And they have both rings set up with the cage and everything. And you're like, holy shit, you get to actually watch it live. And at the time, you needed to have, they would put people, like, on the, let's be honest, we were basically a bunch of plants.
Right.
Sitting there, like, cheering and shit. Like, and I get it, because you couldn't have a full crowd. And, you kind of had to lead the crowd sometimes, because, they got to get back into it, because it'd been so long since there was live shows.
Yeah.
So we were at like 50% capacity, I think. So they let some fans in, because it was Florida, so they could get away with all that. It's not like New York, where it's like a fest of everything up here.
Right.
So, you watch the whole thing, and, you're reacting along with everything. And then there's a legitimate reaction when you watch Chris Jericho get pushed off the top of the cage and go through the floor, and you think, my God, he's dead.
Right.
Like, you legitimately forget, like, okay, he'll be fine, but
he's Chris Jericho.
Forget and go, my God, he's dead.
Yeah.
You just killed your top guy. Good job.
Yeah.
And then you go, okay, wait, no, he's fine. He's fine. So then, you go in the back, and, you make sure, okay, everything's good, and, you shake the hands and whatever, and you come back the next day, and then you do the tapings. Then you do dark, you do elevation. You run through everything like you're supposed to do, and you also just kind of sit there and realize, all right, you're enhancement talent for the day. You're probably not really going to get your shit in, which is okay, which is fine, but it's really just to have your foot in the door. And especially when you're going, and this is not in any way shade towards the factory. Like, they have their own gimmick, but, like, the factory is literally nothing but, like, come on, man, it's a bunch of squash jobs. Mm-hmm. They got their guys, they do their thing, and they squash and leave. That's what they do, and that's fine. And the guys I was working with, Jake Logan and Ryzen, they were cool, they were good dudes and everything. But again, what you came for. But again, it's really just, it's good on the resume. You got your foot in the door. And a lot of times sometimes it's honestly what it just comes down to with them is like they'll bring you back, when like, hey, we've been keeping an eye on this guy and he's obviously doing stuff on the independents. He keeps looking better, keeps having brand new gear. Like he's not just sitting there doing nothing and waiting for the phone call, because dude, waiting for the phone call, it'll never ring.
Right.
You have to go out there and make them want to pick up the phone and call them. Yeah. You got to make your own luck. You have to make your own opportunities.
Absolutely.
You got to make your own opportunities. Anybody that sits there and rests on their laurels will never get anywhere. This is a business of what have you done for me lately? Yeah. So you have to go just do it yourself. And a lot of times you just keep doing it and you get the opportunity to be on a bigger platform. And I swear, I just had this conversation with somebody. It's literally like when it comes to promoters, a lot of times all it takes is for you to get one shot, one opportunity at a bigger platform. Then all of a sudden the other bigger platforms are looking or going, oh yeah, I want that guy.
Right.
Oh yeah, I want that guy.
Yeah.
It's like a kid playing with his toys, but he sees the other kid playing with another toy and goes, oh, I want to play with that toy.
Right. That's exactly
the same thing.
Is.
Yeah.
It's very similar. And it's not to like trivialize like promoters and money and all that, but that's really what it is.
It's the adult
That's what it
version
comes
of that
down
kid
to.
thing.
Is like they see he's good. Yes, exactly. It's your adult version of my action figures are playing and fighting each other. That's how it works.
It's just like when like college football players or scouts go to the high schools to pick players that they want to offer scholarships. They're like, oh, well, that college has been going down to that school. What is that school? Why haven't I heard about it? And then everybody starts going
exactly.
there.
Like, wait, what's that school have?
Exactly. It's exactly what it is.
It's domino effect, because they're like, well, if there's interest in him,
right?
Well, maybe I want him, or at the very least, I don't want that other place to have him.
That's a very good point.
That's
WW. That's how the E does their shit.
Yes.
They take everybody, sit them on the bench, and go, well, you can't have them because they're exclusive.
Yeah.
And that's something we have talked about in the last few episodes and everything, about how their running of the business and how they've killed so much talent by scooping them up, and even highlighting people on NXT, and then be like, all right, they're ready for the main roster, and then they put them on the shelf, and effectively you're just paying people who could be out of this world to just sit there, and then they end up getting cut, which ends up hurting their career, because you're taking people who are in their prime and you're just letting them waste away, and it's a horrible, horrible thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially with their the worst thing is their 90-day no-compete clause. That's the worst, because you're literally sitting there in limbo for 3 months. Right. And this business does not stop. No, it will not stop and wait for you.
It really is.
It's hot. So if you're hot, get it. You have to get on them now. That's a lot of times how it is. So it's like, if you are on a hot streak, stay on that hot streak. Keep on grinding. You have to do it. Like, you have to do that, so then you can kind of like, it's almost like you grind now to make your money later.
Absolutely.
Sometimes that's just how it is. You invest now to get later. That's just how it works. Like, and the quicker people realize that, the more they'll be better they'll be at the actual business, because it's a business. Like,
100%.
You have to understand that. Just because you love it doesn't mean it's not a business. Like, it's not a job or a career. Like,
especially now, I feel like it's treated more from the business perspective than it ever was. Like, it's not just all, guys in the locker room, I'm gonna put my buddy on it and everything. It literally is like, and I hate to use the term, but what's best for business, and that's what everybody's trying to do.
The Monday Night Wars solidified it being the business. And you know what I mean?
And like, with AEW coming to predominance right now, I feel like we're having not Monday Night Wars per se, because AEW doesn't have their Monday night show yet, because they absolutely should. Yeah. But you're going to, because honestly, AEW is a far better product right now than you do with the other company. And to me, the way they treat their wrestlers is real obvious to me, is sitting back as a fan, when you have guys who have put so many years into WWE who are jumping ship, who are going to the other company.
Right. But the difference is with that is that it's run by like Tony Khan and wrestlers.
Exactly.
Is the thing too. You know, like it's not just wrestlers who wrestle their way up and get to call some shots now, and then even that's being taken away over at the E.
Right
now, it's like the wrestlers helped build the company and run it. Like that's.
Absolutely.
So if you just have an overarching story, but it's like, all right, you've got this to do over the next 6 weeks. Figure out how you're going to do it. You know what I mean? And you guys do it. You let us know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's overly. It's overly. The E is overly micromanaged.
100%.
Like that's the issue.
And there was a time where
it's
Vince
a
really
lot of it.
Go ahead, Rick.
Yes. No, you're exactly. It was Vince McMahon and Vince Russo. Those were the guys those were the storylines. Vince Russo was the crazy dude, like, yo, this is going to be the most batshit insane storyline. And Vince would guide him and go, like, pull back on this, just kind of streamline it. And there we go. And it was great shit. Now it's some good shit. So, but now the problem is you have a bunch of soap opera writers. You have people that have zero experience at wrestling whatsoever, because you need to understand one thing. I don't care. You could call it a soap opera in tights, and that might be true, but you still, like, wrestling is still its own thing, and you need to treat it like its own thing.
Right.
It's not a TV show about wrestling. It's a wrestling show on TV. That's how it's supposed to be.
Absolutely.
That's the problem. They flipped it.
Extremely
They flipped
well
it,
said.
and that's their issue.
Yeah.
They corporatized the crap out of it. Once they went public and they went on, that was it. That was the end of it.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is because of the sponsors, you have to listen to them and what they want, and they obviously have their own public interests, and it's always about, like, there's a bit, I don't know if you've gotten a chance to watch it, the show Heels. There's a bit where the one guy is like, he's working for like a big corporate organization up north. We all know it's supposed to be the we don't say it, but we know what it's supposed to be. And they made their championship some like blingy light freaking thing, and they're like, oh, this will be great, this will sell like for Christmas, and this is all the toys and everything. And the guy's like, yeah, that'll be great. I love that idea that all the people that I love and know died or got injured or can no longer walk for your toy piece of shit that you're going to sell to these little brats.
Yeah. Right.
That's the problem. They're more concerned about like selling belts and bullshit to children than they are to like the core of their fans. That's why the core of their fans left. Now, the other issue is you could flip it over. Like AEW might have the hot hand, but you have to also look at like the E. Even their mid-card guys are very polished, like across the board. They're very polished workers, sports entertainers. Now, granted, I understand that AEW might have some guys that are people are more into them now.
Right.
Again, they're the hot hand, but like the E is polished from the beginning of the show to the end of the show. They have guys that like a Roman Reigns type guy is like would dwarf just about the entire AEW roster, other than like, Big Show or whoever. That's the flip side. They are these big dudes. A lot of the times they're these larger than life characters, but their storylines kind of suck.
Right.
They're not really entertaining. AEW has entertaining storylines and great wrestling, but sometimes their guys are a little like, they need a little more experience. They need a little more TV time. They need a little more polishing. And it's not, whoever's listening to this, it's not a heat on any one of these companies. It's just the things that I see.
It is
like
what it
you
is.
all have, both companies have great things going on for them. They're obviously all making, regardless of the internet war bullshit that people are trying to like push. Like they all have great things going on. They're both different products, and each one could be better in certain aspects.
Absolutely.
And if they all work on that, doing that, it could be two amazing products that we can all watch.
Right.
And that's actually something I've talked to him about with AEW. I think it's brilliant that they've brought in so many veterans to guide these younger mid-card guys who are phenomenal wrestlers.
That's huge.
But aren't polished in that aspect of the storytelling, of the cutting of the promos, and you have these guys who have been doing it their whole lives and taking them under their wing to help guide them in that respect. And I think the biggest problem with WWE right now is 25 years ago when we were kids and we were watching the Monday Night Wars and we saw the Attitude Era, Vince had his finger on the pulse then. Vince was much younger then. He kind of could gauge what the crowd wanted, what the crowd needed. And like you said, when it became a corporate thing and he got older and farther away from what people want, he turned into that old man that was, oh, I don't want you on my lawn. That's not what I'm doing. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. And stop listening to anybody else. And stop giving people what they want. Because most of these guys, especially from when we were kids on, a lot of times it's not necessarily like the outrageous gimmicks that have gone over. Sure, you got your Undertaker and your Kanes that like resonated all the way. But when you let the guys be themselves, dialed up to 1,000, like when you let Steve Austin be Steve Austin and not the ringmaster or whatever, he took off. When you let The Rock be himself is when he took off, and that's the issue that he's gotten away from, and that's something where I think AEW really, really excels is letting the guys be themselves and do what they want, and it's far more entertaining to watch.
Okay, I'll give it that. Listen, wrestling fans might get a lot of flack for not being the smartest people in the world, but I can say one thing about them. Fans smell bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They can see bullshit. They can buy into, yo, this is a bunch of crap. You're not even close to, I know you're just running off some shit. Like, here's the thing. They understand, like, for the most part, let's be honest, kayfabe is on its last dying breath. It might not be dead, but it's on its last dying breath. I mean, it could possibly be revived with the right product or the right people or whatever, but that's another story. But, like, you know, you got guys, like, you just listen to them doing the suffering succotash crap. Like, no one's gonna buy that you're a badass. Nobody's gonna buy you're a badass. I'm sorry. No dude that could walk into a biker bar and beat the shit out of 10 guys is gonna say suffering succotash. That's retarded. Excuse me. Sorry. But like, it is. It just is. But you have Roman Reigns now being like, yo, I'm the tribal chief. I will put you down in my way. I'm the best guy. I am the leader now. Deal with it. Because you can see that that's him for real. Again, it's all the way up.
To go back to your
him, and you buy it, and you're like, yo, SmackDown's about to hit like 3 million views for the first time in like 10 years.
Yeah.
And like
exactly.
with Reigns, like
because he's the focal point.
I've had an actual interaction with Reigns. We've talked about it before on this show, and I can say straight up, like, he in real life, he's an asshole, and like he plays the asshole perfectly because that's who he is. And I'm not a fan of him, but the program he's had for the last year is by far the perfect program for him because he's just being himself. Yeah. And it resonates. Like, the fans aren't having, for the first time in his career on the main roster, aren't having a big backlash about him because they believe it. Like, they don't believe him as a good guy because he's not a good guy.
Right.
Like, this is who he is, accept it for what it is. Yeah. And I completely 100% agree with you, is we know what's working and whatnot. Cody, for example, when they tried doing that Stardust nonsense with him at the end of his WWE run, nobody believed that.
No.
Nobody believed that at all. That was the most ridiculous thing ever.
On that. Like,
yeah.
I can't. I couldn't with that. Like, I couldn't with that. And like, what's funny is he actually, like, no one's gonna buy that, bro, just because your brother is Goldust. Like, that was its own thing, and he did it on his own gimmick, like, because it was different at the time, and it was like, oh wow, that's out there. He's a weirdo. But like, your brother doesn't also then have to be a weirdo,
right?
Like, and he even pitched.
Yes,
and that's just funny.
The American Nightmare.
He actually pitched doing both personalities, like one on Raw and one on SmackDown. Like, he was a split personality, and then he would eventually have a war in his own head of who would win. So like that. Like, I would have bought into that. Like, I mean, it was some outrageous shit that they try to put on TV. Like, they put out some ridiculous nonsense on TV, and they're like, that's some good shit. but you didn't buy into that. Like, I don't know. I would have bought into that. Like, if you were dead set on having Stardust on TV, then do that. Like,
I think
I don't know. I would have loved it.
Oh, absolutely.
I think part of it is like they didn't come up with it. The writers didn't come up with it, so they didn't want to do it, and that's where the two companies
That's exactly
differ.
right.
You know, the wrestlers in
Or they
AEW
didn't steal it from the internet.
Right. So
and like him pitching that American Nightmare gimmick to Vince, and Vince is like, "Oh no, they'll never work." And then him going to New Japan and becoming one of the highest paid wrestlers in the world, just using that gimmick. What like just shows like how out of touch they are with.
Yeah. They're losing a lot of wrestlers to stuff
it's
like that. Yeah.
I think a lot of it, what it comes down to is they don't want to see anybody become bigger than the product.
Correct.
Right.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it. You don't want another Rock. You don't want another Austin. Why? Because you can't control them.
You can't control it. Yeah.
You can't tell them what to do because they'll go, bye, peace out,
Yeah.
and they'll go do their own thing and make money in spite of you.
Right.
That's what I really think it comes down to at this point is like they want you to be only as big as WWE, and that's it. And if you get any bigger than that or get any more over than that, they don't like that. What do you think they did to Zack Ryder? They jobbed him out for 5 fucking years, man.
Yeah.
And guess what? He went deuces.
He's so good.
And he went out and did his own thing and got to be a heel and like, yo, he's like, screw these GCW fans. Screw these people. Y'all are trash. I'm better than you. Why? Because I go to the gym. I look good. I have a hot chick at home and I have sex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Boom. Instant hatred and over in one night.
They hate him. Yes. They were throwing things at him.
Why? Because it's
great.
Because it's all true. It's all true, and people hate it because truth hurts. Because none of them are getting none of them are getting sex. None of them look as good as he does. None of them are on TV. None of them are getting paid like he's getting paid, and they hate it.
Yeah.
So of course they're going to boo him. Like the GCW fans are the worst when it comes to like actual wrestlers. They hate wrestlers.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that's why I think it works so well. Like I was watching all that, you know, I was like I had to watch all the clips and God, it was so good.
So good.
It was so good. You know, he's like winning the belt and they're throwing trash at him, and it's like that's how you know you're working.
Yes, when in these days, if you are getting trash thrown at you, you have done your job because nobody throws trash anymore.
No,
so if you have trash throwing heat.
Yeah,
you got him by the balls.
If I was sitting there and I saw something that I really hated, I'd just get up and walk out.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I felt the need to pick up something and throw it towards somebody, that that works. That works. You know, you've got him. You grabbed him.
He did it. And people were mad that he did it. And he's like, what? What are you gonna do about it?
You know, because like we have to watch things slightly differently as people who, you know, then want to, you know, report on it on our, you know, so like, I love it.
Yo,
I loved it. Like it was fantastic. Just people like him, anyone who can break out and go do that. I agree. You know, there's some people that they let go where I'm like, what are you doing? It's dumb to let them go, but at the same time, good for them. You know, people like Breeze and Fandango, like those, you know what I mean? Like people might have forgotten how good that they can wrestle, and then they went down to NXT and they were doing all the tag wrestling, and I'm going to be honest, even I forgot.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God, like Breeze and Fandango are so good.
Because they did really that stupid fashion
They're
files.
So good.
They're
in the
really
ring.
good.
And then people just like, oh,
yes,
they forgot about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Dango Dango can really go. Okay, that's the thing. People forget that, like, I believe he was trained by Killer Kowalski. He was like one of the last trainees or something of his. That dude is legitimately trained to wrestle, man. But it didn't fit the gimmick, so he didn't have to.
Right.
But now he's like, screw it. I could do what I want now. So I'm going to go do my thing. I'm going to be Dirty Dango, and I'm going to show up to ICW in October. Screw that.
Yeah, right.
Like, you know what I mean? So, hey, whatever.
Yeah. All right. So while we're still, you know, even talking about a little bit about AEW, what did you guys think of all the big stuff that obviously, like, you know, we can go into, you know, every single match that happened, but let's be honest. We got to talk about the big reveal at the end. I mean,
well,
first off,
before we talk about the big reveal, did you watch any of All Out, Rick?
To be honest, I haven't really gotten to watching the whole thing. I watched like the highlights of it and everything, and
So the Young Bucks
I mean,
match,
dude, from everything I saw, it was really good.
like,
It was really good
in
from
my
everything
opinion,
I've
it's
seen.
one of the best pay-per-views I've probably seen in 10 years. And the highlight of
I
match-wise
keep
for
hearing
me,
that.
the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers was something that I didn't know I could see, that I wanted to see or needed to see. And anybody else, it went almost like a solid 20 minutes cage match, and it was something of absolute beauty. So if you get a chance, watch that, and I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Now, to the reveal itself, Adam Cole coming out, being revealed, coming to AEW, and aligning himself with Elite, going heel, I thought was absolute brilliance. Because Adam Cole is a heel. It's something that you really haven't seen too much of. And last 4 years, he's been, Adam Cole, baby.
Right.
And now he's all Elite, baby.
Yeah.
But I thought it was brilliant having Cole come out, aligning with the Elite, and then having Bryan Danielson coming out right behind him to be that counterbalance for it.
Right.
And
you had to end it on that note, like, oh yeah, fucking Bryan Danielson, hero guy. Yeah, well, of course. I mean, that's how you end it. You don't, unfortunately, I feel like reviews from the other company always seem to have the heels are always up, which is okay to an extent, but you can only have the heel up for so long before you're like, all right, bro, this is getting old. So that was great. Now, honestly, anybody that didn't think that Cole was gonna go with the Elite, come on, man, those are his best friends.
Right.
They were the Bullet Club.
Right.
So I honestly, the second he showed up, I'm like, here we go.
Yep.
Okay. All right. They're all the boys are back in town.
Yeah.
Come on. We all knew that was coming.
Yeah.
And
I figured that. I mean, come on. His wife is the women's champ, Britt Baker. Come on. We all saw that coming. Especially his little homage of he did her submission at Takeover 36 against Kyle O'Reilly. She did the Panama Sunrise Destroyer. Come on, we saw this coming. But it was great to see him come out and the crowd lose their shit, even though they kind of figured it was coming. But it was just that it's the moments. Nobody, honest, here's the thing. And even for the cage match, as crazy as I did see some highlights and it was some crazy shit. But I'll tell you what, this is the thing a lot of people need to understand about professional wrestling is yes, the matches, obviously, they matter because that's the whole basis of it. But the moments are the thing that people remember.
Correct.
They didn't really remember so much that, oh, he did a flip into this and drop kicked them both off the cage. They remember the Lucha Brothers sitting in the cage, coming down their masks, and they're finally holding the belts.
Yeah.
That's what they remember. They remember Adam Cole, and you got the Young Bucks giving him the kisses on the cheeks, yeah, you're back, bro. Yeah, our dude's back. They remember that. They remember Bryan Danielson going and hitting the knee at the fucking end. They remember that.
Oh, yes.
They remember the moments of anything else. That's what you got to remember is moves, they're cool, but the moments, that's what people remember. And that's why that was such a good pay-per-view. That's why it was such a good pay-per-view, because there was 5 different big moments that people are going to go, yo, this is the fucking best shit ever.
Yeah. And then you had Ruby Soho coming out too.
Right.
Now, something
exactly. She shouldn't be overshadowed either. I feel bad. Sometimes I feel like she got a little overshadowed by the other guys, but she came in bam and made a fucking impact immediately and was
She's so
super
good.
over.
The
with
crazy thing was the
everybody,
crowd chanting
exactly.
for her before she was even out. They wanted her.
Yeah.
And that's huge to me.
Yeah.
Before you've even
you did your job.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, something that I read this morning before I came in, which plays into the All Elite thing. Now, Kevin Owens' contract's coming up
I was
soon.
about to get to that. Yep.
And he tweeted out the coordinates to Mount Rushmore. And anybody that knows anything is he used to be part of a stable with Adam Cole and the Young Bucks called Mount Rushmore. And then so he quickly turned it down. And if you look at Kevin Owens' Twitter page, his location states almost there. And then you have
The Young Bucks.
The Young Bucks' Twitter, their location is there. So all signs are pointing once Kevin Owens is
they're all
contract-
buddies. I mean, come on, that's how this works, man. Like, people want. This is how wrestling has become now. Is like, it's yes, of course, it's about making money and it's a business and all that, and and people are obviously into that. But like, I feel a lot of it now has become, as far as worker side is, people want to work with their friends. They want to work with their buddies. Why? Because it's easier. It's a little less toxic. It's a little less drama and bullshit and egos because you're all friends.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he does that. But he'll probably do and offer him like a buttload of money, and he'll just keep on turning it down because he's like, I'm not interested in it. And now, here's the one thing. Here's the one little caveat I thought about earlier about this particular subject was, Kevin Owens has done a lot in WWE. He's gotten a lot of titles. He's had a lot of moments. He beat John Cena on his first night there, on Raw, which is like unheard of.
In a very short
you've
period
been
of
NXT
time,
champion,
too.
Intercontinental. Yes, he got all this title. He got all this momentum. He got all this stuff. Now, of course, there was a couple little blurps and blips here. It's how the business works, but for the most part, like, he's been like up there and featured in main event and like this top guy. Is he gonna get the same thing in AEW, or is he just gonna be part of an already bloated main event scene? Think about all the guys that are already there.
That's the
Young
same
Bucks,
point I've been
Kenny
making.
Omega, Cody. Now, I mean, you got Bryan Danielson. You have, like,
CM
whenever
Punk.
Christian comes rolling through, like, you have, like, I mean, 10 guys. Chris Jericho. You got, like, 10 guys at this point that are, like, all main event guys, and they're all, like, could possibly carry the AEW title. Are you just going to add yourself to that and just, like...
Well, what I see with AEW...
I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. Like, that's
Right.
his decision, and I wouldn't hate on it either way. It's about your happiness and your health, bro, and
Right.
your money at this point. That's you, But like,
But I
don't
see what I think that they're doing, and it's something that I think that it's a business model that WWE should kind of take because of their bloated roster. I think you'll see guys like Jericho take a 6-month hiatus. Cody doesn't mind taking a backseat and taking a hiatus. Because if you have your wrestlers, signed, whatever, and just have them work for a 6-month period and have them overlap in their 6-month period, you're constantly kind of making stuff fresh. You don't have somebody on there, and you're giving them time off to kind of like do what they want. And I think that's what
that's
they
a good
like.
point.
I think that's what they like because, like, part of Bryan Danielson's part of his contract is he wants to be able to go work New Japan, go do stuff like that. So I think you're going to see them there for a chunk of time, and then they'll be gone because
That's what they need to do.
What's better than a debut? A return.
Cycle them out,
cycle them in and out. And I think that's what they're kind of going for.
So
I don't think it will be that bloated.
If they can do that, that's what
Very
that
true.
would be the
Good
most
point.
important thing for them to do. Because one thing I've been bringing up constantly is AEW going to, and I'm making up a new term here, WCW themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're taking all of, all the
Yeah.
former, usually the former indie, most recent former WWE people, and they're putting them, in there. And it's like, so what's going to happen if they get Adam Scherr and Bray Wyatt? You know what I mean? Like, so now you're adding 2 more big names. You know what I mean? And it's just like, are you going to overkill your stuff? You've only got, because you're not going to put all those guys on either one of your darks.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you've only got a 1-hour show on Fridays for right now.
But-
So it's
Yeah,
like,
that's
so
just
you got
one, like, that's
3
just one spot.
Yeah,
yeah,
you got
yeah.
3 hours of TV.
Yeah, like,
it's like, what do you
exactly, like,
there's
and you have
almost
all
too
those
many.
guys, and then and then you have almost all those poor guys that like busted their ass. A lot of them I know personally. all those guys that busted their ass during the pandemic in Dark and Elevation and all this shit, or like they would do some dynamites and stuff, even if it was just some squash matches, you know, you have them signed, but now you're bringing in all these. I understand business drawing ticket sales, drawing money, but they're kind of like just sitting there like, the hell, man, like
that's
I've been here, like, you know, like it kind of sucks. Like you got to take a back seat. And again, this is how this business is. I understand that there's ebbs and flows and things change all the time, but obviously that blows. Now, the only thing that would be good in a sense, or that's really good and can kind of help to cycle guys in and out, like you were saying, which is actually smart because they kind of did that with Undertaker a while back when he was doing programs. He would run for about 4 or 5, maybe 6 months, get killed off, or like whatever, you're fired from the E, and he'd come back 3 months later. But like, which is smart because it heals them up, especially the older guys. But like, is now they have the forbidden door now that it's basically flung the fuck open. Is like you could have these guys go, hey, we need you guys to do a program over an Impact. They need a little bit of a rub. To be honest, I really think that Tony Khan kind of owns Impact, or he like has a sort of ownership in Impact. Like, let's be honest.
Right. Even
you know, hey, we could take you guys like Moxley. Hey, Moxley, you want to go to Japan for 6 months? Yeah, sure. I'm fighting New Japan by myself anyway. Go send him over there. Right. You know, whatever. Hey, Kenny, you want to go back and wrestle Will Ospreay for the IWGP title? Sure, I'll go. Whatever. Like, you know, like, so yeah, you can send your guys to these other places, like, and they could be getting work and be seen on TV, and everybody's getting the rub, but you then have like the room on the AEW TV to like use the other guys that you just got. So absolutely. That's probably what they're going to do. Watch. We're going to speak it into existence, and they're going to do that.
That's what I really think it is.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time something we've said is should or is going to happen happens. But again, like even your point of you know, pushing down the talent that built it, like that's how TNA suffered. You know, TNA was built on all these amazing guys, you know, like AJ Styles and Joe, and it's like they had to. Once TNA started to get popular, you know, they brought in all the old school wrestlers, and like pretty much everyone but Angle and Sting killed it. Yeah, killed and I don't mean like kill it good, as in like they ruined the show. Absolutely. They ruined it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what tends to happen.
Those two helped keep it up. Those two, you know, like Kurt Angle went there like I think first out of all the big people. So he was a big get for them, but. You know,
he just wanted to wrestle.
Exactly. He wanted to wrestle, and at that time, that was the only.
I mean, he had gone because he left the E, and then he went to New Japan. You know, and he had his run over there. He was, I think, he had the heavyweight title over there, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. So, like, he did his thing over there, and he just wanted to continue to wrestle, just at a less crushing schedule than the E had at the time. Yeah, and then he goes over to TNA because they offered him the money, and it was a spot over here in the States. And, you know, he did his thing, but notice he didn't bury the other guys or crush the other guys. He worked with them and elevated them. Like AJ Styles probably wouldn't have been as big as he is now if it wasn't for the program he had with Angle and Joe and all that. That's what built him and made him into the phenomenal one.
Right.
Yeah.
But like then the rest of them came over like, all right, guys, like you're dominating the entire main event. Like, why?
Yeah.
Here, like everybody else just had to go to the X division.
Right. Yeah. It was insane
to get any kind of TV time.
It crushed it. They crushed it. It was crazy. So
the only other thing before we do the top 5 and we get out of here, something else I saw this morning, which I thought was kind of cool. On October 5th on Netflix, there's going to be an interactive movie called Surviving the Undertaker. And I'm
doing that. I'm watching that shit.
In this interactive film featuring WWE superstars, The Undertaker has set a trap for the decorated tag team, The New Day, at his mansion. What they don't know, The Undertaker's mansion is an extreme haunted house packed to the brim with supernatural challenges. It's up to the viewers to decide the fate of these 3 poor souls trying to survive the wrath of The Undertaker. I think this is. I personally love the New Day. I think they're hysterical. I think that their chemistry is great, and I think this is a great counterbalance for Taker, and I think this is a great way to keep Taker relevant.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
like,
cool. I'm gonna be the guy. I'm gonna be the guy that's trying to kill off the New Day because I'm nothing against them. They are very good, but I'm the Undertaker mark of Undertaker mark.
I think
That's
we all
just
are.
how I am.
I think we all are. Really.
Taker is why I wrestle.
Right.
So I'm gonna be there, like, all right, kill them all with every crap in the book. Do it.
I can remember
I
being
care.
like 5 years old and seeing a wrestling magazine in the store, and like at the time, like I was just watching like the Saturday morning after cartoons, and like he's on there, and I'm like, I want to watch this. I want to be this monster of a man. Like I think Taker's the reason a lot of us stuck with it for so many years or came back to it. Because I know for a few years when I wasn't watching, whenever I'd see a commercial like The Undertaker returns, I'm like, shit, I'm watching Raw this week. Like,
You know,
right?
Yeah, he's coming back to SmackDown. Oh, they really want to make SmackDown relevant. You know what I mean? Yeah. So. So all right, yeah. So let's get into our top 5. To go back to your thing even earlier, talk about merch. Let's do some top 5 merch.
Yeah. So this week's top 5 is gonna be our top 5 favorite merch of all time.
Yeah, and mine. So me personally, mine is mostly like T-shirts. So I'm gonna run like all 5. I'm just gonna run through real quick. So my favorite stuff to 5, Rock. 4, Stone Cold. 3 would be probably NWO. Even though they were like technically bigger, like you saw more of that stuff around school. I still
have.
You know what I mean?
I still have an NWO T-shirt at home.
My more favorite was actually the DX stuff. But then my favorite piece of merch, period, of all time, even though like I never talk about them like super much, but especially because when I was little. Hitman glasses, man.
And those are making a big comeback too.
Hitman glasses. I would have killed everybody in the arena for Hitman to put his glasses on me. You know what I mean? That was me. Rick, what do you got for?
I'm gonna have to agree with that one.
Yeah,
I got to agree with that one. The Hitman glasses, dude. Honestly, Hitman, like, dude, that's why I wear the shades.
Oh yeah,
is because of Hitman.
Your shades.
I mean, they're always different. They're but like that's why Hitman was why like I always come out. I always decided to like, all right, I gotta wear some kind of shades coming out, not just because it fits my own gimmick, but like my own thing I do. But like I always loved Hitman. Like that was like one of the guys where I was like, yo, I want to wrestle. Was him. That's why I do the sharp. That's why I bust out the sharpshooter like on occasions. I'm like, that was like the submission, man. Like I was like, yo, listen, I'll tell you what. Besides the figure 4, that's probably the best submission of all time.
Right.
Like
it's
most recognizable. Most recognizable, certainly.
Yeah. I mean, people who don't watch.
My poor brother.
Yeah. People who don't know
brother
wrestling still know the sharpshooter. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, you put him in the sharpshooter. But like, you even know it became pop culture. You know what I mean? So, any other favorites? Any other favorite merch stuff there, Rick?
Yeah, no, I would. I mean, you listed off basically like all the ones that like I rocked or like I would wear or probably would still wear today. I would say another one that a lot of people, I don't know if I'm sure other people would probably agree to this though, is there was a point where Jeff Hardy had like, he was like the guy for like merch and shit. Like 2007, 8, everybody had those freaking armband things. Yep. I had them.
Oh,
I had them. I had the little necklace with the Hardy thing. Like, yeah, I would say Jeff Hardy was a big one because for me personally, that was one of the guys. Yeah, obviously NWO, Jeff Hardy, DX, Taker, yeah, all that shit. Another one I would say like I like it, and I would say it's up there in like the top 5 just simply because of like all the imitator spawn was Bullet Club.
Yes.
Bullet Club merch.
Dude, I
love it, but then I hate it because it's all the such and such club. Like, please stop. Like, get your own merch, man. Like, let these guys have their own shtick.
I got the Bullet Club one, the Villain Club one. I got Stephen Amell's Vigilante Club one. I have Cody Rhodes's the American Nightmare one. Like one day, like I was at Hot Topic, they're like having a 75% off sale. And like I got each one of them for like $7 a piece. I'm like,
That's crazy.
I can't beat that. Now,
Okay, that's different. That's cool, and that's also different because they're actually associated with the Bullet Club.
right.
Like I'm talking about some like local yokel
Oh, yeah,
jabroni
yeah,
that's
yeah,
like
yeah,
some
yeah.
club, and I'm like,
Yeah.
come on, man,
Get out
come on, dude, like get your own shit. I can't
Now
stand-
the one piece of merch that you guys didn't talk about, because like the Austin 316 shirt it will forever be my favorite piece of merch.
Yeah.
Is the foam Undertaker urn that they used to have.
Oh, right.
I used to always want that.
yeah.
Because you'd
Okay,
always
wow,
see it
that's
in
a
the crowd.
that's
Forgot
a
about that.
throwback.
Like
Oh
that.
man.
As a kid, I'm like that. I want that thing. I don't want the real. I want the foam urn that they
The
had.
foam one, yeah.
Yeah. And like it's just like they're, you know, you had things like Kane's mask and just Mankind's mask and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's what I
Mr.
was saying,
Sacco,
yes.
like
Mr.
there's
Sacco.
so many. And actually, something else. Now that I bring up, Mick Foley gave an interview or gave a spot on Instagram or whatever, and he very openly talked about how WWE isn't the place for aspiring talent anymore, and that it is AEW. And again, that for me just solidifies something that Mick Foley is been like Mr.
Yeah.
WWE forever, you know?
Right.
But
Yeah,
I'm-
but he says it straight though. He's got to be
Yes,
honest. I'll tell you what, he's a straight shooter. He just is. So
Yeah.
I got to give it to him.
Well,
Yeah.
Rick,
He knows what
we
he's talking
appreciate you
about.
coming on. I have to go have this match with Z. It'll probably only take 30 seconds.
Yeah,
but
I know you saw
wanna
Z
get this
come
done.
in.
I just want to get this done and over with. So I got stuff to do. I got. There's probably fans outside the door here that want signatures, and that's going to take me forever to deal with.
It
So I
is.
just want to get the.
Hey
this done
man,
over.
get through your fans, bro.
Anytime
Okay.
you want to come
Go
back
ahead.
on, let me know. If you need the help of the D Squad at the show, you let me know. And if you don't want to talk to
will.
Garrett, I know how annoying he can be. Just hit me up, and we can get you back on the show.
He's
as soon as you
alright,
want.
man.
Yeah.
Don't give him so much crap. He's cool. He takes a lot of my pictures at shows. A lot of those promo
See?
pictures are for him, so I can't
Well,
give him heat.
Well,
Thank-
at least you
thank
found
for
something
the
he's
shout-
good for.
Thank you for the
unlike
shout out,
me.
Rick. I appreciate that. All
Hey,
right.
there you
But hey,
go.
we'll have you on in the future. Maybe we can get you in the studio, next time, and
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll make
All-
the trip.
All right. Well, we super appreciate it. We will see you maybe possibly this weekend.
Oh yeah.
At
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
Kansas
I'll let
Area,
you
but
know.
then definitely in a week and a half
Yeah,
at the show, we
yep.
will absolutely be there. And anyone watching, you should be there too because it's going to be amazing, like ICW always is. So, all right, we will.
Hell yeah.
We'll catch. Thank you again for coming on, for sticking out for the whole show too. We
Yeah,
really
dude.
appreciate
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Yeah, man,
so,
it was fun. I like it.
yeah. All right.
course.
So we'll catch you. Thank you.
Take it easy, bro.
Later.
All right. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Come on, champ. Let's go. All right. Z, are you ready to take this title back? Yeah, I knew you were. All right. Now, this is going to be a good, clean fight. You, all right? No funny business from you, okay? I want a good, clean fight. No shenanigans, okay? Oh! Oh! Oh!
Hey, buddy. I'd like to introduce you to the newest member of the D Squad.
New regime around here,
Come
pal.
on, man. Let's see.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Fine. That's it. You're the champ. All right, I give up. I'm done.
I'm glad you see it my way. Things are gonna go a lot smoother around here.
Oh.